Good afternoon. Don't have anything to start with, so
Really?
Matt,
No?
I
Well,
see you
it's
writing
such-
out your
such
questions. Do you need
such
do you need a minute?
No, it's such a quiet news day.
That's why I wanted to defer to your questions for you to ask
Not
about.
quiet news
for you
day.
to
I'm
ask about all of
surprised
it.
I'm surprised you don't have anything to start with, but that's okay. Let me begin with something about Gaza. And this is the letter that was signed today by the heads of a number of UN agencies as well as NGOs, and that opposes the creation of a safe zone or safe zones in southern Gaza, and also calls for an immediate ceasefire. I suppose none of that is particularly surprising, but I wanted to ask you about the fact that there are at least three American citizens, three Americans who are signatories to this, who are heads of UN agencies, who this administration nominated, supported, and lobbied for to win their positions, who signed this. And so the first thing on that is...
Go ahead.
Well,
I was saying,
the
I don't
first
think
thing
it, I
on
don't
this
think
is
it
they're
calls
no
for.
longer, they are not employed by the U.S. government.
Can I
So
say factual? Correct me if I'm wrong. I don't think it calls for an immediate ceasefire. Correct.
calls for a ceasefire. I'll go back and look at
Happy
it.
to be proven wrong if I read the letter quickly this morning, but I don't think it calls for an immediate ceasefire. But anyway, go ahead.
Well,
I may
anyway,
have that detail wrong.
I might have it wrong as well, and I'm sorry if I do. But at any rate, the content of the letter is not in alignment with what the administration's policy is right now. Obviously, these three people that I'm focusing on are not employees of the U.S. government, and so they don't necessarily take their direction from the administration. So one, they didn't clear or let you know in advance that they were going to sign this?
So I'm not aware whether we had conversations with him in advance of this letter. I would say we, of course, supported all those nominees, as you point out, and support their ability and right and authority to make their independent judgments about what is the best policy. I will say one thing about what the letter calls for with respect to safe zones. I think the letter points out that they are opposed to safe zones in which there is not agreement from all the parties not to attack those safe zones. I think the point they're making is if you direct people to go to safe areas, they have to be sure that those areas actually will be safe and not just targets for the civilians who have been moved there.
You're saying targets from
Targets.
Israel?
The civilians won't be
I mean,
targets.
these are Israeli proposed safe. This is an Israeli proposed safe area.
What we are working on with the Israelis, and we've had conversations about this in the last 24 hours, is about what is the best way to implement protection for civilians in southern Gaza. And we continue to work through those details. I don't have any announcements to make about where we might land, but it's a conversation that's ongoing with the Israeli government right now.
Okay. Then just more broadly, because we're all aware of the foment inside the administration and inside Washington and inside the country about what the policy is. But these are three prominent people, including two of which, Kathy Russell and Amy Pope, had senior positions at the White House. Kathy Russell is still, as far as I understand, extremely close to both the president and the first lady. And then Cindy McCain, who everyone knows who she is. Is it problematic for you guys at all that you have these three people who are, the heads of important UN agencies who are disagreeing with the administration's policy?
Again, I don't necessarily agree that they are disagreeing with our policy. We want to see that whatever protections exist for civilians in southern Gaza, that there are areas that are protected from attacks from Israel, from Hamas, from Palestinian Islamic Jihad, from anyone else operating there. So we would agree with that. that notion, and it's something we're working with the Israeli government to try to implement and figure out the details of now.
So the administration does not support the creation of a safe zone?
We create.
I thought that was one of the main things that the Secretary was doing.
We do want to establish areas that are safe for civilians in southern Gaza, but working out the details of that when you have an armed conflict going on is complicated, as it always is in the middle of armed conflict.
Okay, so you're not particularly concerned about
No,
that?
not at all.
Okay.
Follow.
Go ahead.